In about 10 days, Ross is gonna throw him away. I'm gonna be real with you, Meech. If Rick Ross, seeing what he did to you, because he knew what he was doing standing on the side of him, right?
Rick Ross just pulled off one of the biggest moves in hip-hop, and now Big Meech is paying the consequences. I've seen plenty of posts about Big Meech's concert being canceled, but what's missing is anyone pointing fingers at Rick Ross for it. No one is blaming him. The streets aren't holding back, and right now, they're all talking about Big Meech and Rick Ross. What began as one of the greatest comebacks in the industry has quickly turned into one of the biggest betrayals in hip-hop history. Think about it. Big Meech, fresh out of prison and ready to take back his place at the top, teaming up with the biggest boss in the game, Rick Ross. Instagram posts, promises of movies, business ventures, it all seemed flawless. Too flawless, in fact.
I've seen a lot of posts about the Big Meech concert getting canceled. What I'm not seeing is anybody blaming Rick Ross for this shit. Nobody is saying, yo, Rick Ross is your...
Now Big Meech is truly falling apart. His huge comeback concert got canceled, the $1 million deals disappeared, and his family is struggling. And where is Rick Ross? Nowhere to be seen when Meech needs him the most.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done.
You're about to see how Rick Ross went from being Big Meech's biggest ally to his biggest problem. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Big Meech lost control. And trust me, you'd feel the same way. But before we dive into that, have you noticed anything strange about Rick Ross lately? That sudden shoulder injury? The way he's been avoiding questions about Big Meech? That's where the real answers lie. While everyone's been focused on the drama between Big Meech and 50 Cent, something huge just happened that flips this entire story on its head. 50 Cent, who's been closely watching this unfold, shared something from someone deeply connected to both Meech and Ross. This isn't just internet rumors or random speculation. It's coming from someone who knows them personally. And what was revealed about Rick Ross's true intentions with Big Meech exposes a level of betrayal no one saw coming.
Down on the edge, so don't push. I ain't straight for your head, so don't push.
Yeah, I'm out here in Miami. We're gonna do live tonight. It's gonna be live if it don't get canceled.
This party is canceled until...
That's right. What seemed like Rick Ross supporting Big Meech was actually a carefully planned strategy to stay relevant. Think about it. What better way to keep your name buzzing than to get involved in a long-running feud between two legendary figures? Industry insiders have revealed that Ross had been plotting this move from the moment he heard about Meech's release. He didn't hesitate for a second. He immediately reached out to Meech. Let me explain what really went down. It appears Ross sweet-talked Meech, flattering him with promises of a huge welcome-back concert, with all the biggest names in hip-hop showing up to celebrate his return. The pitch was that it would help Meech raise the money he desperately needed to get back on his feet after nearly 2 decades in prison. A man just out after 15 years, trying to rebuild his life. Ross saw it as a chance for money and clout. But what happened next? It completely backfired. And not just a little, it blew up in Meech's face when 50 Cent, the one who had been supporting Meech all along, hit back and revealed the truth.
I've seen a lot of posts about the Big Meech concert getting canceled. What I'm not seeing is anybody blaming Rick Ross for this shit. Nobody is saying, yo, Rick Ross is your...
And this is where things take a dark turn. According to Zip, Ross secretly worked behind the scenes to have the concert canceled, then had the nerve to place the blame entirely on 50 Cent without speaking a word publicly. If that doesn't scream master manipulator, I don't know what does.
Because when we was on the internet talking about the Cuffy case and all that, nobody even really gave a fuck. But now 50 talking about that shit, and everybody listening. Everybody listening, you heard? So, I just want to say, or I want to ask you, did you think that shit was a good idea in hindsight? Do you think it was a good idea?
But wait, Zip had more to reveal. As an industry insider with his finger on the pulse of the streets, he dropped some insider information that will leave you shocked.
How you let that nigga get the show canceled in Florida, B? That's kind of diabolical, you heard? 50, that's some bullshit. How you let the nigga get the show canceled in Florida? Let's get to that.
So, Big Meech's famous never-fold policy, the one Ross hyped up as if it made Meech a superhero. Zip says it was really just an unspoken rule, nothing significant enough to build an entire brand around. Being loyal doesn't automatically make you a hero in the game. However, what Zip doesn't mention is that there's actual evidence and witnesses to the shady deals Meech allegedly made to shorten his sentence, but we'll get into that shortly. For now, I need you to understand the bigger picture. While Big Meech is out here struggling, cut off from support, betrayed by Ross, and falling out with 50 Cent, guess what Rick Ross is doing? He's busy promoting his own cryptocurrency. Yep, the Boss Token.
Oh, yo, he never ratted on nobody. He official. What? Jailhouse full of paying rent. That never ratted, wouldn't dare rat. But they butt. Cause you talking about he official. That don't make you solid cause you ain't rat. You shouldn't get no credit cause you ain't rat. You wasn't supposed to rat. You don't get no check on his resume cause he ain't rat.
So, ask yourself this. Was Rick Ross ever really on Big Meech's side? Or was Meech just another stepping stone in Ross's game? Here's where things get even more questionable. Have you noticed Rick Ross's mysterious shoulder injury that popped up just as all this drama started heating up? The timing seems a bit too convenient, doesn't it? But it doesn't end there. Ross has been hosting these luxury car shows across the country, charging fans thousands of dollars for VIP access, all while Meech's family is reportedly struggling to pay their bills. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. Multiple sources, from Atlanta to Miami, are saying the same thing. These ventures, from the Boss Token to the car shows, aren't just business moves, they're scams. People who invested are already complaining about losing money with nothing to show for it. Now, remember that shoulder injury Ross suddenly started showing off right when all the Meech drama started heating up? The one he's been oddly silent about? Word on the street is that Big Meech might have something to do with it. I'm not saying it's for sure, but this is what people close to the situation are whispering after realizing how Ross played Meech. After spending 15 years behind bars, all that built-up anger could have been directed at the man who betrayed him. Honestly, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing. But wait, before you take that as gospel, let's consider another theory, one that makes even more sense when you look at Ross's history. What if Ross is faking or exaggerating this injury as a sympathy move, trying to distract from the heat he's getting for abandoning Meech? Because if you look at Ross's track record, especially what happened with the Larry Hoover benefit concert in 2022, a pattern of deception starts to emerge that changes how we should view this shoulder injury. Before we dive deeper into this, if these industry secrets are opening your eyes, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell right now. It takes just 2 seconds, but helps me keep bringing you the truth they don't want out there. You might not have noticed, but this isn't the first time Ross has tried to take advantage of mafia associates, and the pattern becomes crystal clear when you look back at the Larry Hoover benefit concert fiasco in 2022. That event, which should have been about freedom and justice, turned into another Rick Ross disappearing act. See, when Ross dropped Larry Hoover's name in his track, he knew exactly what he was doing, dropping a legend for clout and riding that publicity wave straight to ticket sales. But as soon as the heat came down...
See what I'm doing right now? My shoulder broke, but we still getting to the money. We still count paper. This ain't a pump and dump, baby. We bossing all the way up. Get the address to the Boss Token.
Rick Ross disappeared without even having the courage to admit his role in the concert's cancellation. Instead, he threw his own managers under the bus, claiming the concert was canceled without his knowledge. In an interview, he said, "I canceled the rest of the tour because the promoter wasn't handling his business. He canceled a date of mine. I was going to Tucson, Arizona, which was a few hours outside the market. The other day, I woke up and realized 2 more dates had been canceled and felt like I needed to take some power away from the homie without him knowing." The headliner didn't even know his own show was canceled. How does that even make sense? At the time, he even said something eerily similar to what he's doing now with this cryptocurrency. "I'm a certified man, a real boss. This is something everybody needs to understand. Gangsters move in silence. If we didn't know any better, we might think it was more about his own insecurities than anything else. Anyway, the truth came out soon after. Insiders claimed that the head of the gangster disciples, Larry Hoover, was upset about Ross using his name in a track, but the MMG boss had the audacity to deny it. He said, "Anybody who knows anything about Mr. Hoover, that's why I put him in my song. It's all about support. It's all about coming up. I was just in Chicago a week and a half ago. That's the birthplace of the GDs. If I go to Chicago to handle my business, then I have no problems in North Carolina." But here's the question that'll keep you up at night. If Rick Ross could turn his back on Larry Hoover with no consequences, what made Big Meech think he'd be treated any differently? Now here's something about Rick Ross that makes this betrayal even more twisted. The man who abandoned Big Meech has built his entire career on deception. Rick Ross isn't even his real name. William Leonard Roberts II stole the identity of an actual kingpin, a man who was serving life in prison. When Roberts decided to take his name and life story,
his name is Rick Ross. But not only that, this Rick Ross claims that his whole identity was stolen. Peep the beard, peep the bald hair, the selling stuff.
While it's common for rappers to use stage names, most don't go as far as stealing someone else's entire life story. The real freeway Rick Ross eventually got out of prison and took the rapper to court. And that's when the shocking truth was revealed. This so-called street kingpin, the self-proclaimed drug lord who built his image on being from the streets, turned out to be a government official. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Meech can bounce back from this, or has Ross caused irreversible damage to his comeback? Until next time, remember in this game, pay attention to what people do, not what they say.